A 14.5 magnitude earthquake in South Florida is a scenario beyond scientific possibility, but for the sake of exploring the hypothetical consequences, let's analyze the full extent of the devastation in detail. This analysis will include the physics of such an earthquake, structural damage, tsunamis, human casualties, environmental consequences, economic impact, and long-term recovery prospects. The impact of a hypothetical 14.5 magnitude earthquake on South Florida. 1. The science behind a 14.5 magnitude earthquake. Before we dive into the destruction, it's important to understand that a magnitude 14.5 earthquake is physically impossible under Earth's geophysical constraints. The largest earthquake ever recorded, the 1960 Valdivia earthquake in Chile, was a magnitude 9.5, and even that caused global consequences. The energy released by a magnitude 14.5 earthquake would be millions of times stronger than any recorded earthquake and could potentially shake the entire planet. The Richter scale and moment magnitude scale, MW. The Richter scale is logarithmic, meaning each whole number increase represents a tenfold increase in wave amplitude and approximately 32 times more energy release. If a magnitude 9.5 earthquake is the strongest recorded, then a 14.5 earthquake would be millions of times stronger than the most powerful earthquake in history. Energy release of a magnitude 14.5 earthquake. A 9.5 earthquake released about 2.7 T 1018 joules of energy. A 14.5 earthquake would release 1025 joules of energy or more, rivaling asteroid impacts like the one that killed the dinosaurs. Given this scale, let's explore what this means for South Florida, a region that is not designed to withstand even minor earthquakes. 2. Immediate ground shaking and structural devastation. Florida is known for its sandy soil, limestone foundation, and lack of tectonic activity. A magnitude 14.5 earthquake would shake the state so violently that the entire peninsula could break apart or sink into the ocean. A. Destruction of buildings and infrastructure. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and West Palm Beach would collapse immediately. Skyscrapers, bridges, and hotels along Miami Beach would be flattened within seconds. The famous Brickell Financial District, home to South Florida's largest corporations, would be reduced to rubble. Residential homes, from luxury mansions to suburban communities, would disintegrate under the extreme shaking. Bridges, roads, and highways would be obliterated. Florida has over 12,000 bridges, all of which would collapse. Interstates such as I-95, I-75, and the Florida Turnpike would be torn apart and made impassable. Roads would experience massive fissures up to hundreds of feet deep, swallowing cars and buses whole. Miami International Airport and other transportation hubs would be destroyed. The runways at major airports like Miami International Airport, MIA, Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood International, FLL, and Palm Beach International, PBI, would be torn apart. Public transit systems such as Brightline, Metro Rail, and Tri-Rail would be completely derailed. B. Sinkholes and ground collapse. Florida's limestone foundation makes it highly vulnerable to sinkholes, and an earthquake of this magnitude would turn entire cities into craters. The ground would liquefy, meaning soil and sand would act like a liquid, causing buildings to sink into the earth. Sinkholes the size of city blocks would open up across Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties, swallowing entire neighborhoods. 3. Tsunamis and flooding. Perhaps the greatest threat from a 14.5 magnitude earthquake in South Florida is the resulting tsunami. A. The formation of a mega tsunami. A 14.5 magnitude earthquake would displace trillions of tons of water, generating a tsunami larger than anything in human history. The wave height could exceed 1,000 feet, 300 meters. Within minutes, the entire Florida coast would be underwater. B. Impact on coastal areas. Miami Beach, Key Biscayne, and the Florida Keys would be wiped off the map. Downtown Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and West Palm Beach would be completely submerged. Orlando, Tampa, and Jacksonville, though further inland, would also experience severe flooding due to massive storm surges. 4. Casualties and human impact. With a population of over 9 million in South Florida, the death toll from such an event would be catastrophic. A. Death toll estimates. Immediate fatalities. Within the first few minutes, millions would be killed due to building collapses, fires, and falling debris. Drowning victims. The tsunami would likely kill millions more. Toxic gas leaks and fires. Gas pipelines would rupture, setting cities ablaze. Disease and famine. In the aftermath, survivors would face lack of food, clean water, and medical care, leading to even more casualties. B. Mass evacuations. Survivors would flee north, but highways would be destroyed. Helicopter rescues would be impossible due to strong aftershocks and fires. Millions would be displaced, creating the largest refugee crisis in U.S. history. 5. Economic collapse. The financial consequences of such a disaster would be unimaginable. A. Cost of damages. Total destruction of property. All homes, businesses, and public buildings would be lost. Infrastructure losses. Roads, bridges, power plants, and water treatment facilities would need to be rebuilt from scratch. Financial sector collapse. Miami is a major financial hub, and its destruction would disrupt global markets. Estimated cost to rebuild, hundreds of trillions of dollars, making recovery impossible. 6. Long-term consequences. A. Environmental fallout. Florida could be permanently underwater, changing U.S. geography. Toxic chemical spills would contaminate land and water for decades. Climate change implications. The release of greenhouse gases from burning cities could accelerate